As Apple's Vice President of Networking and Communications, I direct all of our company's data communications research and development. It's a very exciting assignment because Apple has made major commitments in the area of networking and communications. The company has acquired 2 outstanding firms in that field. We've announced and shipped a number of new products, and there's a great deal more to come. And all of it builds on the idea that got Apple started in the first place, helping people to extend their abilities by creating computers they can use to do extraordinary things. It used to be that mainframes and personal computers lived in 2 separate worlds, the mainframes doing the big jobs and the personal computers helping individuals to be more productive. Each had its place in the scheme of things, and each offered advantages, but neither could tap the strengths of the other, not easily at least. When you bring these 2 worlds together, not only do you increase the capabilities of the individual, but you also make the existing mainframe system more useful to the organization. And when that personal computer is the Macintosh, you provide your people with a tool they will enjoy. The Macintosh has an intuitive interface that people learn quickly so they can get on with their jobs without the need for a lot of training or continuing day-to-day support from the information services people. We'd like to show you how the Macintosh can serve as a terminal for IBM, DEC, and other hosts, and how the Macintosh interface enhances terminal emulation. How you can transfer files to and from the host environment, work with the host application using the familiar features of the Macintosh interface, and finally we'll show you how the Macintosh can be a true software peer in a multi-vendor environment, conversing and working with applications on the host. You'll see how it's done, and you'll see too what practical benefits arise when Macintosh and mainframe get together. The entire information system becomes more valuable because people can do more with it. The source of these benefits is the architecture of the Macintosh. In conventional personal computers, applications sit directly on top of the operating system, which leaves developers on their own to define a human interface. That's why different applications end up looking and behaving differently. But the Macintosh architecture was conceived and designed to provide the support for a human interface that remains consistent across different applications. That consistency is assured by the toolbox, which includes a set of routines that applications can call upon to display interface features, such as windows, menus, and icons. The Macintosh architecture also includes a layer called the desktop that gives users an easy way to manage disks and files, launch applications, carry text and graphics from one document or application to another, and access network resources and services. The toolbox and the desktop bring consistency and a graphics-based, intuitive interface to the Macintosh, enabling users to learn a variety of applications easily and to integrate them by cutting information from one application and pasting it into another. Now, this consistency is a great advantage for the user of a standalone personal computer, but where it really pays off is in the multi-vendor environments. For just as Macintosh makes it easy to move information between applications, it also makes it easy to move information between environments and allows you to give users one easy, consistent, and intuitive way to make use of all of your information resources. All these features give Macintosh a natural fit with large information systems, where people work with data that's distributed in more than one place and more than one environment, and where people use a variety of applications to analyze and present their findings. Macintosh can emulate the terminals you use now, so that information can flow easily between the mainframe and the desktop, without any need to modify the programming on the host. Once people have the data they need, Macintosh lets them do a lot more with it than they could using a dumb terminal. Now here's a 3179 terminal. We're connected to an IBM 3090 running TSO. And here's how easy it is to use a Macintosh to do the same job. I'll unplug the coax from this terminal and plug the same cable into this Macintosh. On the Macintosh, we have our 3270 emulator. I follow the same procedures to make the connection and to access the host. And I enter the same user ID and the same password. And what we see on the Macintosh is the same information presented in the same form as it was on the terminal. And I can work with it in exactly the same way, We can connect and communicate without any changes in system administration. As far as the mainframe is concerned, the Macintosh looks and acts just like an IBM terminal. But when the Macintosh is acting as a terminal, you'd expect it to do a whole lot more, and it does, because we can take advantage of the Macintosh to do more than just view the data. So, while we're connected, we'll access a report generated by the host database program. I select the data we want to view and copy it into the Macintosh clipboard by selecting Copy from the Edit menu. Now, I can open a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, or any spreadsheet for that matter, running under the Macintosh operating system. I select Paste to put the data into my spreadsheet, and I can manipulate it just as though I've typed it in all by myself. Now, to make the data part of a report, I'll create a graph, paste it into a document, and print it out. What we did in the IBM environment, we can do just as easily in other environments, such as DEC, for example. Let's connect to a VAX. Now let's do it while we're still in session with the IBM system. We can use any of a number of VT100 terminal emulators. So we'll get the data we need from a VAX database report, and there it is. I'll select it, copy it, and paste it in the spreadsheet. And so, a user can take data from a host and, through terminal emulation, get that information into the Macintosh environment, where it can be treated like information created on the Macintosh. Word processors, spreadsheets, and whatever else I want to use are right at hand, waiting to receive information from any number of hosts. In fact, from this spreadsheet, I can actually open a report that resides on the VAX and import the data directly into the spreadsheet. Digital Equipment Corporation and Apple have been working together to provide even closer Macintosh to VAX integration. So when the Macintosh is connected to a VAX system, it is fully integrated into your network and can make use of all the network's functions: electronic mail, file access, remote terminal services, and inter-process communications. So, as you've seen, you can use Macintosh for terminal emulation in your existing information system: the mainframe computers, the communications hardware, the cables. The value of doing that with a Macintosh instead of a terminal is that you can transfer information to the Macintosh and manipulate it there with all the benefits of the Macintosh interface. File transfer can mean less use of host CPU time and less network traffic. Because host files can be accessed and transferred to and from the Macintosh with point-and-click ease, Macintosh users can work with the data in their own way with local applications and with minimal support. And when they're done, send their work back to the host, making their reports and data accessible to others on the network using the mainframe as a large file server. Many of the people who need to use information aren't experienced at using computers. So the next level of Macintosh to mainframe communications makes host applications look like Macintosh applications to end users. Here, the Macintosh interface provides a front end to mainframe software. Dealing with complicated host applications, either through a terminal or through a conventional personal computer, can be difficult. And that can mean data sessions that are longer and more complex than they really need to be, and inefficient use of your information resources and your people's time. The Macintosh interface can help you get more out of your investment in existing host systems because it can make those systems easier to use. Here, we're using Apple's HyperCard software to work with a mainframe SQL database. HyperCard gives you the programming tools to build front ends for mainframe databases, to use Macintosh interface features such as windows, icons, programmable buttons, and graphics. So the user can connect to the host, request information, and update data with the same intuitive point-and-click interface of a local Macintosh application. It communicates with the host through an SQL-based connectivity language like CL1 that translates the user's inputs into the host's own query language. Absolutely no changes are required to the host applications that also access the database. And when the data is transferred to the Macintosh, CL1 makes the information available in a form that HyperCard can use. The background form that the user sees is part of the local HyperCard application. The data that fills in the blanks comes from the mainframe. There is a growing number of Macintosh applications that can use CL1 to communicate with existing SQL databases. Besides HyperCard, there are databases and spreadsheets available that can work with these host applications without any modification to the host software. A tool called Mac Workstation makes it possible for a programmer to add a Macintosh interface to a host application without having to learn Macintosh programming. The host application can be written in any language, so programmers can use the skills they've already developed and even applications they've already written. Mac Workstation runs on the Macintosh and acts as a bridge and a translator between the host application and the Macintosh toolbox, bringing the Macintosh interface to mainframe data. To use Mac Workstation, the host programmer adds commands to enhance the existing application, so the application can specify what the Macintosh will display to the user. This code tells Mac Workstation to display a dialog box. This identifier can be followed by a character string to add more details, such as text. And other commands invoke other elements of the Macintosh interface. When the application runs, it will send these messages to the Macintosh. The amount of data added to the transaction is very small. It doesn't include all the graphic details, just the specifications. So network traffic is less than it would be if the host had to spell everything out. Mac Workstation is an extension of the Macintosh toolbox that interprets the message and calls other features of the toolbox to draw a dialog box. And what the Macintosh user sees looks like a Macintosh application. Clicking on the button will tell Mac Workstation to return a response to the host. And what the host sees is the command code it expects. Here's a database session as it runs from a VAX terminal. And here's the same application driven with a Mac Workstation front end. To add this kind of enhancement to host applications, programmers don't have to learn Macintosh techniques. Mac Workstation allows them to invoke the Macintosh interface with a minimum of commands to give their clients the power of mainframe applications with an interface that makes those applications easy to use. Differences between data formats, query languages, command languages, and file management conventions need not stand in the way of adding the strengths of the Macintosh to those of the mainframe. Here's another example of Apple's commitment to connectivity in multi-vendor environments. Mac APPC, Apple's implementation of IBM's LU 6.2 protocol. It enables host applications and Macintosh applications to work together, even though they are written in different languages. With Mac APPC, Apple became the first vendor to successfully complete the IBM LU 6.2 interoperability test. With Mac APPC, applications running on the Macintosh can converse with those running on host systems as true software peers. They can access distributed databases transparently wherever they are located, and combine that data with information maintained on the Macintosh. Cooperative processing takes advantage of the best capabilities of Macintosh personal computers and host systems. The Macintosh personal computer does more than merely connect seamlessly with other devices on a network. IBM, digital, mainframes or minis, terminals or MS-DOS personal computers. The Macintosh adds significant value to enterprise-wide information resources. It can make accurate, timely information readily available to those who need it in a way that's remarkably easy to use. And that, after all, is the bottom line, helping people to be more creative and more productive. The tools we've shown you are designed to help you integrate the Macintosh into your information system. And you don't have to scrap your present hardware to get the benefits of Macintosh technology, to provide a higher level of information services to your whole organization. We consider Macintosh a valuable addition to any information system. It enhances your investments in both hardware and data because, as you've seen, the Macintosh and the system you're now using can work hand in hand, each doing what it does best, and together helping your people to be more effective, more creative, and more valuable.